Okay, so we'll get rolling here. I'm gonna turn this extra light on in the beginning.
Yeah.
But we'll dim it as the class moves forward. So I'm glad you guys are here. We're gonna start off with gentle active yoga first. We'll move into restorative after that. With the restorative will come the aromatherapy. So that first rolled up towel has frankincense on it. It's a spiritual oil. It's a holy oil. It's a one that has tons of benefits for the mind, body, the spirit, and it is a natural sedative. So expect to be kind of like chilled by the end of our practice today. I want to start off discussing what our theme is going to be, but before I get into that, I want to say I already told Sydney this before we started. Last week, my only child graduated from high school, which was already a big deal. Yes. And we had a huge lead up to the graduation. I am not a party giver, but I hosted a graduation party for him at our house. And it was a lot of fun on Friday. And then my boyfriend had a gig on Saturday night. And then Sunday night, we went to another graduation party. And then Monday night was the actual graduation. So there was like a long build up for it. And it was all joyous. And then the very next day after the graduation, his dad had a heart attack and ended up in the hospital and was in the hospital for a number of days. Thankfully, his dad's fine. He didn't need surgery. It's something that, he was released and said, lifestyle changes and some medication, he should be fine. But it was quite a scare. And me and his father are divorced and have been divorced since he was 2. So it's not like we have like this really close relationship, but it made me start thinking like, we need to have a conversation because his dad doesn't have any family left, and Gabriel's pretty much his only family and the only one allowed in to see him at the hospital. And it made me start thinking, I don't know what your dad wants. Like if something were to happen to him, I don't even know his wishes, which is not something you want to necessarily think about. But when I was younger, I grew up in a small town the first half of my life in Middle Tennessee, in a town called McMinnville, close to Manchester. If you know Bonnaroo, it's close to Bonnaroo. It's like another 30 minutes beyond that point. Well, in between McMinnville and Manchester area, kind of offset a little bit, is this tiny little podunk town called Viola, Tennessee. And Viola, Tennessee is where my mom and her family grew up. And it literally is like a spot on the road. It used to have a gas station, a post office, a little market, and that was it. And now I don't think any of those things are even open anymore. But regardless of that, my grandparents had a farm in that area, and they're buried at this cemetery called Mount Zion Cemetery. And every August, they have Decoration Day, or they don't call it Decoration Day, they call it Mount Zion Picnic. And so what happens is they decorate all of the graves. They have live music, country music, bluegrass music. They have a cakewalk. It's kind of like a gathering of the community to share flowers for their loved ones, but also to have some fellowship and fun. And I always thought that was cool. So in my younger years, I always thought, I don't want to be buried anywhere but Mount Zion, because I want that picnic every year, even though I'm gone, right? Well, nowadays I'm like, oh, just cremate me, send me off the top of the mountain, I don't care. Like, I'm done, right? Whatever, it's not gonna matter. But it did make me start thinking about, what are Christian's wishes? I don't even know what his wishes are, Well, when I started researching my class for yesterday and today, I wanted to somehow tie it into Memorial Day. But I didn't want to talk about war. I've done that in the past. And I didn't want to talk about the fallen. I've done that in the past. I wanted something a little different. And so in my research, I discovered that our Memorial Day actually stemmed from what was called Decoration Day during Civil War. I didn't know that. And I'm kind of thinking, because the Civil War was more prominent in the South, that's probably where Mountain Lion Picnic kind of got their Decoration Day. But the Decoration Day with the Civil War happened with the fallen soldiers during the springtime when the flowers were in bloom. Well, fast forward to World War I. This was going on in the western part of Europe. There was a war that took place on some battleground which devastated the land. And there was obviously a lot of bloodshed upon this particular property. And there happened to be a Canadian lieutenant who showed back up on this land and saw that it was full of these flowers and it was peppered with red poppies. And out of seeing that field that had once had this war that was now full of red wild poppy flowers, he wrote this poem. It's called In Flanders Fields. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing and fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, we felt dawn, and we saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now lie in Flanders field. Take up the quarrel with the foe, to you from feeling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold up high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields, or Flanders fields. So that poem that he wrote after seeing all the red poppies that grew in the fields where all these men lost their lives, created that poem, and later that poem was published in the Ladies' Digest here in the United States. Now, what makes this interesting is in Belgium, in France, in United Kingdom, in Australia and New Zealand, they all look at their Veterans Day as a day to wear red poppy flowers, to commemorate it with red poppies. But after it was published in the US Ladies' Digest, a woman named Mona Michael saw that article, got inspired by that poem, and she decided for Memorial Day, she would make and create all these silk red poppy flowers to sell in support of the soldiers. And so all the money went back to the soldiers. And then later on, the American Legion Society decided to adopt the red poppy to basically remind us of fallen soldiers. And so that's why our Memorial Day and some of these other countries for Veterans Day celebrate with red poppies. I shouldn't say celebrate, have a remembrance of this through red poppies. That's why I'm wearing red today. Now let's go into that subject of red, because red is something that if you see red, or if you think about red tape, or if you see brake lights in front of you, right? We tend to think of red as being fear, danger, warning. Look out. We tend to think hot-headed, temperamental, right? We have some negative connotations with red. You may get burned, it's really hot, anger. But I also want you to see there's a positive side of red. You know, red can also represent passion and love, luck. If you look at some of the Eastern cultures, they use red for their New Year's, for luck and prosperity, for wealth, for power even. If you look back during the medieval time frame, whenever there was war, whoever came out on top would be cloaked in crimson red. If you look at the royalty, you know, we tend to think royal purple. Yes, purple is that majestic color, but they also use that bright, rich red to represent power. So that's what I want us to be kind of contemplative on today. If we look at the chakras, the energy centers in the body, the red represents the foundation of the body. Yes, it operates the blood flow, the skeletal system, the muscular system, but it's also the process of elimination of waste from the body. It's the legs, it's the feet, it's our sense of security, it's our survival skills, it's our instincts, it's our ancestral roots, it's whether or not we feel confident and have courage to face something head on, or if we get scared and want to run away from it, right? It could go to either side of the spectrum. So we'll be working a little bit in the lower body during our active practice. And I don't know, that's kind of the setup for today. So let's begin sitting on a bolster and scoot to the edge where you have a neutral pelvis and a little platform for your hips, or you can sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes. And as you close the lids of the eyes, begin taking some deep sips of breath. So instead of the breath being on autopilot, you're beginning to take control of the breath, deepening the inflow and slowing down the outflow. Feel the expansion of the lungs as you inhale, and the deflation of the lungs as you exhale. Allowing the breath to enter, but equally allowing the breath to exit. Not sacrificing the inhale for the exhale, or the exhale for the inhale. Now that you're allowing the breath to stream in and out through the nose, just notice, from sitting and breathing, what are these subtle effects? Maybe it's improved your posture, because notice how you naturally spring up on your inhale. Perhaps it's helped to calm and settle the body, station it here in this place. Perhaps it's helping the mind to come into a more focused, maybe a little bit more calm and clear. And we're going to continue to take these moments to check in through our practice, especially when we get to restorative. But before we restore, let's go ahead and open up the eyes, and we're going to get right on up to stand. And the first thing I want you to do when you stand is make sure that if you take both arms and kind of swing them to the side, that you're not going to hit a wall or another person or furniture if you're in the back of the room. All right, and then we'll start. So bring your ankles to line up underneath your knees and hip points. And once you ground your feet, you're going to take your hands into a fist beside your body. And we're going to do what's called double breathing. So it's a short, long inhale through the nose. Try that. Short, long exhale through the mouth. Good. Again. Awesome. That's the breath we're going to do with the mechanics of the body. So the 2 short in breaths, left arm up, short, long exhale through the mouth, lean to the right. Short, long inhale through the nose, come back. Short, long exhale through the mouth, lower the arm. Now let's go faster. Keep this going. We're starting with the side bend because it helps to open the heart and the lungs. One more to each side. Good. Now separate your feet a little wider than hip distance. So the first one was meant to open the side body, the lungs, and the heart. This next one is going to be like a side punch, except we're not trying to be violent. We're trying to create a twist. And the twist is going to create a slimmer waist, let go of lactic acid that built up in the muscles in the back. It's going to help bring a natural chiropractic adjustment to the vertebrae. And it helps to do a squeeze and soak effect to the abdominal organs and activate and lift the energy to the brain. So it's the same breath work. So it looks like this. So because we're going pretty fast, you don't want to lock your knees in. You want to keep them kind of soft so that they can kind of wobble with the hips. All right, let's begin. We'll twist to the right first. So Paramahansa Yogananda brought this over to the West when he was introducing yoga to Americans. And he used these energization exercises as a warm-up before yoga, reminding us that we are energetic bodies. And it's basically a way to recharge our batteries. One more to each side. Come back to center. Now let your hands relax down with your palms facing open. And you may notice, whew, that surge of energy coming up to the brain. You may notice kind of a vibration in your system or even a slight motion or rocking in your body. That's the energy that we've perked up. So just sit with it, let it settle. Think about twist as being like a snow globe that you're shaking up, but then you sit it in stillness for it to all settle back. That's what we're doing here. All right, now make sure there's some room in front of you. So maybe standing, I don't know, 2/3 of the way back of your mat. It's the same breath work, but we're gonna slow it down. And this is called fencing. So the hands are in a fist. Take a double inhale and then step forward with your left foot and then throw the right arm out. So we're not trying to be Tyson. We're trying to go slow. Back it up on the double inhale. Double exhale, right foot forward, left arm out. So they can be slow motion. Follow that breath all the way through. Double inhale. Double exhale, alternate limbs. One more to each side. Double inhale, step back. Double exhale, arms down. Good. Now, same type of breath work, but we're going to use our hands and we're going to spread the fingers and then pull them together. So it kind of is like jellyfish. But what it's really like are like the senses that move out into the world that are bringing all the information in from our environment. What we're sensing, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, all of that. So the arms are going to be out in front, fingers apart. Double inhale, the fingers pull together and the wrists come to the brow. On the double exhale, the arms slowly extend and the fingers fan out. Continue. Do this with your eyes closed. And think about how, as yogis, we're trying to move beyond the five senses that limit our experience as humans to move in towards the sixth sense or the intuition. Last one. Relax your arms down. All right, we're gonna do one more kind of breath work here, and then we'll get back into our yoga practice, even though this is yoga too. So hands to prayer position at the heart. It's gonna start us off here. And then inhale, expand your arms nice and wide, palms facing ahead. As you exhale, bring your left hand in front of your belly and your right hand in front of that. Good. Inhale, lift through the top of your head. Exhale, you're going to twist to your right. And then inhale, separate your arms wide apart. Exhale, look over your left shoulder. Inhale, turn your face back to the side wall. Exhale, look over your back arm. Inhale, turn to face the side wall. Exhale, bring your left hand in front of your navel. Bend your right arm, and then inhale, revolve to center. Exhale, right hand in front of the belly. Good. Inhale, expand your arms. Exhale, right hand in front of the belly. Left hand in front of that. Inhale, lift through the top of the head, and as you exhale, twist to your left. Stay in the twist. Inhale, expand your arms wide apart. Exhale, turn your gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale, turn to face the side wall. Exhale, gaze towards your back hand. Inhale, gaze at the side wall. Exhale, right hand in front of the belly. Left arm bends, and as you inhale, revolve to center. Exhale, left hand in front of the abdomen. Inhale, expand your arms. Exhale, left hand in front of the belly, right hand in front of that. Inhale, lift through the top of the head, and exhale, spin to your right. Stay in the twist. Inhale, open your wingspan. And exhale, look to the front of the room. Inhale, turn to the side wall. Exhale to the back wall. Inhale to the side wall. Exhale, left hand in front of the core. Right arm bends, and as you inhale, face the front. And as you exhale, right hand in front of the left. One more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, right hand in front of the belly, left hand in front of that. Inhale, lift through the top of the head and spin to your left. Good. Inhale, open your arms. Exhale, look over the back shoulder. Inhale, turn your head to face the side wall, and exhale, face the front. Inhale, look to the side wall. Exhale, right hand in front of your core. Left arm bends, and inhale, revolve to the front. And then exhale, bring the hand down. All right, that was our little warm up. We'll do a little yoga now. So stand at the top of your mat. I would suggest having blocks in case you want to use them for any reason. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Now let's get into that root chakra. Inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead.
exhale, pour down to your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Now, have your legs either extended and muscularly engaged, but if that's too much for your hamstrings or low back, bend your knees and just drape down. So you can approach it either way. We're still opening the back of the body, still extending the hamstrings, working into this root chakra. And with every exhalation, feel as though you're banishing any fear and drawing confidence and courage up in yourself. On your next inhale, slide your hands up your shins, straighten out your leg bones, lengthen out through the vertebrae, look out with your eyes. And then as you exhale, grab those blocks, bring them beside the feet, and we'll inhale, step your right foot back behind you. Turn and plant your back foot, and bring your arms up to Virabhadrasana 2. So in Warrior 2, that front knee's lunging, the back leg is straight, your arms are out shoulder height. Flip your left hand open in front, sweep that arm up towards the sky, gaze up underneath that arm, and then as you exhale, cement your back foot firmly to the floor, and then rest your arm on that front leg. Good, shoot that right arm up in the air. Good, now inhale back up, Virabhadrasana 2. Initially, that front hand is facing down. Then exhale, turn the hand open. Inhale, flare it up as you lean back. And as you exhale, kind of cartwheel the elbow to rest on the knee. Take the right arm overhead. Beautiful. Inhale, return, Warrior 2. Exhale, flip the front hand. Inhale, take the side version of Warrior. And then exhale, bring it down to side angle pose. Good, now really glue both feet down into the floor. Use that arm resting on your front knee to just casually back it up. Good, now bring your right hand down, spin away from your back heel. And when you're ready, lose the blocks so that you can step to plank. When you're in plank position, you're trying to streamline your arm bones, your joints. So stack your wrist, elbows, shoulders. This is our primary foundation. As you exhale, drop your knees. And then rock your hips forward. Untuck your toes, buckle through your arms, and just casually roll down to the belly. Keep your heart up, keep your head up, lengthen your leg bones back, elbows squeeze towards your waist, even if they don't touch, to strengthen our backs. All right, exhale, lower to your brow. Inhale, push up to all fours. Exhale to child's pose. With your arms extended in front of you. The arms can be active or passive, yogi's choice. Be with your breath. Inhaling, rock up hands and knees. Exhale, tuck your toes. Reach your sits bones high up in the air to downward facing dog. And casually look back towards that space between your big toes or the backside of your mat. Creating this inversion. Rolling the thighs in. Take one last breath. And then casually, step by step, walking the feet forward to the top of the mat. hovering here, Uttanasana. In and halfway lift. Out and lower back in. In and all the way up. And exhale, hands return to the heart. Now we're gonna do one more sun style today. Inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead. Exhale, come down to your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Now while you're here, just give a little nod or bobble to your head. It could be yes, it could be no, any which way. Just loosening your neck and allowing your neck to unravel. I tend to carry knots in the shoulders and in the neck. And just think about them releasing. Think about releasing any and all fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of uncertainty, even the fear of death itself. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, lengthen out through the spine. And then grab the blocks, bring them back beside the feet so that we can step that left foot way back behind us. Good, swivel that left heel to the floor and then bring your arms and trunk up to create warrior two. Your hips are opening. Gaze towards the front hand and then flip that front hand. Inhale, sail that arm up, look up underneath. And as you exhale to side angle, Parsvottanasana. Inhale, return to warrior two. Notice the foundation doesn't change, only the upper body. Flip your right hand. Inhale, open up the side waist. Look up underneath that right arm. And then exhale, dance it down to side angle pose. Power of three. Inhale, coming up. Warrior two. Exhale, flip your right palm. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale to your side angle position. Now casually look down, spin off your back heel, spin to your toes on that back foot, lose the blocks. Same vinyasa, right foot steps back, plank. So any standing poses, any hamstring work or quad work is going to be for the root chakra. But think about this pose. We think heart chakra because of arms, but remember the skeletal system is also part of our foundation. And the more you practice stacking the bones, the easier the pose will become. Now sink your knees, untuck your feet, rock the hips forward, lower down to your belly, cobra. You can be low, medium, or high. There's different variations. We're all unique. We don't have to look the same. Exhale, lower to your brow. Inhale, push up to all fours. Exhale, extended child's pose. Let the belly drape over the thighs. The forehead may or may not touch down. That's okay. Deep yogic breaths. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale to downward facing dog. Create this inverted V shape with your body. Think of the V representing victory, victory of mind over body. Victory of good over evil, victory of light over dark. Walk the feet forward to the top of the mat. Hinge from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower back in. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, bring hands home, sweet home to the heart. How we doing? Okay, a little bit more active. We're gonna take the right leg to step back. We're gonna begin with hands together in front. I'm just checking your back feet to make sure we're all good. Square the hips. And then take your arms in that wide wingspan that we did earlier. And then as you exhale, you're only coming a portion of the way down. So we're not flopping, right? Sometimes we do that. But today, we're gonna manage by gripping our feet firmly into the floor, extending out through the spine, hugging the belly in to defy gravity. Now, bend the front knee, pick the back foot up, and see if you can balance here, airplane pose. And then slowly lift your head, descend your right foot, as well as your arms. Tadasana, standing tall, sturdy, like a mountain. All right, when you're ready, hands to prayer. Step back with your left foot. Good. Splay your arms wide apart. Exhale, dive a portion of the way. Remember, we're not going all the way down. And it gets a little harder when we go a portion of the way because gravity's like, oh, come on, right? All right, now lunge into that right knee, pick up your back foot, let the back foot be like the tail cone of the plane. There may be a little turbulence. Gaze at one spot. When you're ready, lift your head. Bring the left foot down. Your arms, Tadasana. Okay, we're gonna bring it to the floor. So it's depending on your knees. If you can bend your knees and lift your heels, you can transfer down into a toe balance. And if this doesn't work for you, just come on down to a seat. You can use your blocks by lowering them to the second height and bring them kind of back behind you and just use them as a way to softly descend your seats. Okay. Then we're going to bend the right knee. And we're going to fan open from that hip. Now, obviously, check in. How is this feeling today? It looks like you're all good. Your knee was way up here. I'd be saying, get a block, right? But you guys look good. Take your arms up and make sure your left ankle stays flexed. And when you flex the foot, notice how it tightens up this leg. And then as you exhale, you're going to lean out over it and bring the hands down. Now, as you start to lean down, think about your navel flying up and over your thigh, your heart trying to fly up and over the knee. That way you're not just rounding and collapsing like this. The more extension you get, the more work you'll receive. Take command of the breath. Inhale, walk it back. Take that right foot and stack it. Lean back into your hands and slide your left foot towards you. And then see if you can build up your spine. Now transferring it into the hip. If you already feel the hip, you're golden. You don't need to do anything else. But if you're in this pose and you're like, that much, then you can close the gap, meaning you're shifting forward towards the left foot And you're walking your hands back in towards your low back. And then if you kind of closed yourself in, now you should feel it. If you're rounding your back, you're not going to feel it. If you're lifting your heart and your head, you'll feel it. All right, now if you scoot it forward, slide it back. Left foot out, right leg out. We'll do the second side. Bend the left knee. Turn open from the hip. Each side could be way different. So if the knee's way up here, you really do need some support there. If it's hanging down, barely hovering, all good. Lift your arms up. Station your foot correctly, because lots of times the foot will turn out or in. And then when you're ready, hinge forward. Let your hands release. So it's not about getting the head to the knee, so don't be concerned about that. And inhale, let's come back up. We're gonna take that foot, cross it over the thigh. Hands behind you, lean into them so that you can slide the right foot in. And then you have to walk the hands closer to your body and lift up through the vertebrae. Again, if you're not feeling too much and you want more, just scoot a little closer. And that should do it. Is anyone taking off traveling today? No? Okay. So just remember when you travel, when you're sitting for long periods of times, it does disrupt circulation. It can create blood clots. You do want to move your body, even if it's just pointing and flexing your feet and rotating your ankles, even if it's getting up to do a little stretch on the break. Like if you stop at a rest area, do a little yoga at the rest stop, or get up definitely from an airplane and walk around. All right, when you're ready, slide back, sit out, and you're going to want a block. And you're gonna bring yourself down to the spine with the knees bent. And you're gonna let your hands begin palms down beside you. We're gonna pressurize the feet and tuck and lift the tailbone. So do a low bridge right now. Just a low one. You don't have to tuck the shoulders. Now, as you tuck the tailbone, just know the lower end of the spine goes back to the root chakra that's usually depicted red. So all those lower ones that are fused together, and that's what we're working with here to create this action in our glutes. You're strengthening your hamstrings as well. Let's grab the block, slip it underneath your low back. And once it's under your sacrum, relax your buttocks, relax your hamstrings and feet, and just take rest. Now I'm going to go ahead and dim the lighting. Now that you're stationed, you're back. Because we're ending the active yoga, we're going to start transitioning more to restorative. This is a variation of restorative bridge. It's good for the spleen, that purifies the blood. It's good for heart health. And it can be calming for the mind. See if you can breathe down into your belly. up into your heart. And from here, we're going to move into a restorative waterfall, which requires the feet to lift up towards the ceiling. You're still sitting on the block, but the legs are up. And this is also good for circulation. This is good for varicose veins. This is good for swelling in the lower body. Hold 3 more breaths. Lower the feet. Inhale, tuck and lift away from the block. Slide the block from below, roll it down, and hug your knees in. All right, even though that was a brief restorative, we're going to move into our longer poses of restoration now. So if you roll over to one side of your body, our first pose is going to be Stonehenge. And let me just give you a visual really quick, because this is the main mistake that I see in this pose, where the blocks are too wide and then you put weight on it and it starts to bow in or it gets wobbly. So you actually want the blocks set up pretty close together for more stability. And then once you have this set up in front of you, have your towel, aromatherapy towel, close by. You can use a blanket to fold up like a pillow with the legs on top. And then if you unroll that towel, you can place it over your face, your eyes, your ears. So we focused in the beginning talking about how the red poppy became the symbol of remembrance for Memorial Day. We talked about how the color red can bring up different things for different people. And how the red is the color depiction for the root chakra. The first primary energy field that resides near the base of the spine. We worked with some standing asanas. We worked with forward fold positioning in order to access, stimulate this root chakra.
So now we're elevating the legs to give them a little nurturing care. Notice how your back flattens to the earth. Breathe in frankincense oil. What stems from trees. What's been used for spiritual passages and religious ceremonies for eons of time. If you feel like you've been lacking stability, if you have felt ungrounded or less connected to the earth element, feel free to imagine your body is glowing with red. Affirming, I am grounded and stable. I am confident and courageous. Love is my foundation.
Mindfulness bell that ring is going to take us out of this pose and onto the next, but deepen your breath first. And then hug your knees in next. And once you hug the knees in, let's roll away to one side of the body. Come up. And your bolster is now going to go behind you. And you're going to take your blanket. You're going to open it up so it looks like this. And then fold in half so it looks more like this. If you need help, I can come help. That's it. Yeah, you're getting it. Now, we're going to set up with our reclined butterfly. So the bolster under the back, the blocks under the knees, and then this blanket is going to drape over the rim of the pelvis, the belly, and provide just a little weight bearing at our core. So again, you can use the frankincense as the aromatherapy for this pose as well. The blocks can turn and rotate to different heights. So feel free to explore those options. Finding your perfect setup. Work with those same affirmations, even though we're in a different pose. Stable and grounded. And my foundation is love. So we often think that love abides in the heart, or love is something that we're wanting to receive from the outside. I want you to tune in, go within, find that wellspring of love that resides in your heart. You can imagine that fountain being like a water fountain. Let the water turn to that scarlet red. Red to represent luck, love, power, and wealth. Hearing the sound of the mindfulness bell, just deepen the flow of the breath. Notice how the breath undulates up, down, rolling between the belly and the chest. All right, we're going to change for the last pose. So if you close your knees together and roll away to one side of your body. Our final one, and I want to switch. You know, the therapy up. So I'm gonna come around and trade out one for the other. The next one has lavender, a calming, cooling essential oil that is even used in the hospitals in Europe, the burn units. So I like to tell people, if you burn yourself a lot in the kitchen, have some lavender oil sitting around. Not only good for burns, but it's also good for insect bites, mosquito bites. Let's see. Somehow. You have lavender? You have lavender on it. Okay. That must be funny. Oh, that's weird. Okay, perfect. Okay. We're all set. With this one, I want us to lay out very similar to a corpse pose, except the bolster will go under the knees. And you could use the blanket as a pillow again, or you can just use it to, you know, open up and cover your whole body. Does anyone need a second blanket? You need one for the pillow and want one to come from it. I'll bring you a spare. Yeah. Absolutely. Nice to have a, when you have a chance. For this final restorative position, I'm going to be offering some guided imagery. What's often referred to as a guided visual meditation. And if you need to ignite the realm of your imagination to follow along, you can always stimulate the third eye, which governs imagination, by looking in and up to the mind's eye, the spiritual eye, or that reference point between your eyebrows. This will also help you to remain alert and awake through the meditation. This is entitled Field of Flowers. Once you take time to settle into your body, take a few deep breaths. Now let the breath go, but ensure that you're softening all the muscles of the face so that you have a rather neutral expression. As you're looking in and up towards the mind's eye, it may appear
dark at first, like you're in a theater before the movie begins. So let the curtains peel back. And imagine that in front of you are 7 rolling hills. Each one of these 7 hills are going to represent one of the major energy centers of the body. We're going to stroll over each of these mounds. Let's stroll across the first hill. Right beyond the crest of the hill, you see a field full of red poppies. They're rich, radiant red, giving rise to a feeling of security and the need to slow down. Walk slowly through the red poppies, affirming within, I am safe and secure. I am safe and secure. And then travel over the second hill. To what takes us to a valley of tiger lilies. Lead your way through the tiger lilies and notice the valiant orange petals. Allow them to feed you a connection to yourself and others. Affirming, I am accepting all of myself and bring honor to all of my relationships. I am accepting all of myself and honor my relationships. Once you move to the Valley of Lilies, start to move up the third hill. That's going to lead you to an area of buttercups. Saunter your way through the yellow buttercups and let them offer you a feeling of being alive, well. Affirming, I am a source, power, transformation, and I'm being encouraged to grow and bloom. I am a source of power, transformation, and I'm being encouraged to grow and bloom. Now arriving to the fourth hill that has a beautiful green pasture
and rows of pink tulips. The beautiful green pastures represent compassion, and the pink tulips to represent your higher heart. As you walk beside them, let your heart swell with unconditional love, affirming, I am loved and supported. I am loved and supported. Rolling up to the fifth hill, you see lying just beyond it, a hidden oasis of beautiful, clear, crystal water. It looks so pure you could drink it. Affirm here by the water, I am purifying my mind and body. I am purifying my mind and body. Cross over the sixth hill and see blue morning glories. Travel through the field of morning glories and notice how they're emitting very subtle fragrance. In this area, you can also picture hummingbirds or butterflies paying a visit. But affirm internally, I am full of new insight and innovative ideas. I am full of insight and innovative ideas. And as you approach final and seventh hill, notice as you cross over rows of lavender. This lavender field has a fresh fragrance, so divine. Enjoy the heavenly scent. Affirming, I am filled with greatness and one with everything, with everyone. Filled with greatness and one with everything and everyone. Now that you've heard mindfulness bell ring, take that as your cue, deepen the flow of your breath. To take in that aromatherapy last time today. Knowing that just breathing in these scents can bring benefits to your mind and body. Let's casually begin to point and flex the feet. And to eventually step them back to stand on the bolster. And then once you stand the feet on the bolster, you can rock the knees side to side. You can roll over to one. Build yourself up to a comfortable seat. Sitting, spine extended, hands joining each other to prayer position at the heart. Let's end our practice chanting Om together once. Take a deep breath in. Om is the root word for Amen, which means, and so it is. Let it be so. Let's always remember that the red poppy is a time for remembrance. The light in me honors and bows to the beautiful light in each of you. Namaste. You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your holiday, your week, your summer, if I don't see you for a little bit.